Dude, who cares?
Yeah, doesn't even matter. What's up?
All right. How's it going? Back from long break. What have you been up to?
What's up, man? Just skiing every weekend, twice a week, sometimes three. Have a
My
good time.
goodness.
Yeah.
So what
What's up?
did we leave off? You said you're renting a house, right?
Yeah, we're renting a cabin there, splitting it with somebody. So it's good with two kids, living the life.
And are you gonna commit to that full time?
To what? Skiing full time?
I mean, I think we chatted a little bit, but are you interested in just doing that? Like why not live there?
Oh, I, I don't think I don't think working remote you can be as effective as someone in person. So to maintain my quality of life and without getting fired eventually, I feel like I have to be here in person.
Why don't you think you can be effective remote?
Well, I think maybe presence is the big one. I think sometimes you work with people who have great presence in person. I don't know how to explain it. Charismatic or something like you just like you go into a meeting with them and then you leave and then you feel like okay, like I would listen to this person type of thing. Um, I feel like that is it's so hard to capture that remote, but it's something you can do in person only. And especially me in a role that I'm in because I'm not no longer like necessarily in a technical role, more of a management role. Like these small things are more important. But I would generally recommend anybody go in person, even if even if your coworkers are not going in person. Your office is open but optional. I would recommend going in person just to show people the level of dedication you have towards your career, and I feel like that gets you some gains.
I'm not sure I buy that. What is this
Maybe,
dedication you're talking about? Like you could be busting ass like at home.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
I,
go
I
ahead.
I I think it's true. I mean, you can get more work done at home, right? Instead of an hour commuting both ways, you could be spending that hour working and getting more done. I think
I saw an article
unfortunate.
where I saw an article that said like if you work in your PJs, you end up working an extra 3 hours a day.
I don't
That's
doubt
like
that.
that's 15 hours a week, dude.
Don't doubt it at
Of
all. I'm
extra
sure a
value.
ton of people are working more. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just saying if you're a company, if you're a company like and you have salary employees, like you'd start a pajama mandate. You'd be like everyone needs to work in their PJs now.
that's right. But no
It's free
company's doing
value.
that. Well, very few
What?
companies are doing that. Certainly, Google is not taking that take, adopting the hybrid come back to work plan. So that's actually interesting. Like, how much of these studies does Google believe in? Like, there are studies where it's like open offices are bad. Is Google going to switch from open offices to not? Probably not, my guess. But then again, I don't really trust any study these days. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like it's just people want to make it seem like these studies or whatever like create paradigms that just work for everybody,
Mm,
right? Like it's like you like you can have different cultures, different things be effective in different cultures.
yeah, yeah,
And not
that's
only that, like even if let's say on the aggregate you take a look at 1,000 people, right? And it's like okay, well 70% of those people like they don't work well in an open office environment. But keep in mind like it's not random people that you hire, right? Like when you
yeah,
hire people, you make sure they fit in your culture, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not like you just take a sampling of 1,000 people on the street and you just toss them in there. So it's like it doesn't even
yeah.
make sense.
There's too many variables. And like they could be cooking some numbers. Who knows? They could run 10 studies, choose the one that had the best result. Maybe it's like you get some short term gains, but then the long term things flip. Like there's too many variables. I don't trust any
Yeah,
study. I just go by my gut with everything nowadays. Give the middle finger to every study.
I there's something to be said about that mindset. We can talk about that mindset. Like, is that better, or is it like better to like do the research, get data, like something in between? Like it, and there's great examples of both, I think,
Yeah. I mean, Google's a
right? Like,
data-driven company, right? Like that in itself is the opposite of going with your gut. It's going with the data.
so I heard a great story about basically Facebook,
Mm.
right? And then I would say Facebook in some ways is like the opposite of Google. Not that they don't use data, but so the story is that first of all, you know how Zuckerberg turned down like the initial acquisition, right, of like a
Uh,
billion dollars,
uh,
right? Like, and so what happened was once he turned that $1 billion down from like I think it was Yahoo or something like that,
yeah.
it's like his entire management team left, right? Like
Damn.
every single person, reporting to him was just like, "What are you doing?" Right? Like, I'm out. Right? So
Hmm.
he had to rebuild his basically his entire like senior management team to for people who are more committed to
Yeah.
his mission, right? So this going with your gut thing is so basically after they rejected the acquisition,
Yeah.
they ended up launching like newsfeed, the Facebook newsfeed,
Mm.
and after that, that's when like Facebook just like exploded for the first like real time,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because they had kind of like tapered off a little bit, but then
Yeah.
like launching the newsfeed like blew it up a lot.
It's
So when they
interesting.
first launched the newsfeed, apparently 80% of Facebook users joined a group that protested the newsfeed. So like 80% of users joining a group to protest your feature. Like
No,
first of
man.
all, even if like 8% of people did that, it'd
Yeah.
be like it would be like incredible, right? You'd be like, holy crap, 8% of my users don't like this. Like did something, told me that. For him
Yeah.
to have 80% do it and then effectively say, fuck you, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
this, I'm right. This is what we're gonna do.
So,
This is the right thing to do, right? Like
yeah.
that's that's the that's when you go with your gut, right?
Yeah. That's interesting because there's probably no metric in the book where Zuck could have taken it and been like, "Hey, we should launch newsfeed and we should not get acquired because of metric X." Those metrics did not exist.
Exactly. There's also no advice anyone gives you that's like, hey, 80% of your users say they don't like this thing.
Yeah.
You should
Yeah.
do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no person in their right mind would ever give that advice from like a product company,
No. No.
right?
No.
Like it's just like your users told you this, you're like, doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right? Like,
Yeah. Steve Jobs had a quote about this actually. I sometimes steal it. Now I'm gonna forget it. But basically, he says like all metrics are backwards looking. It's just results of the past. But like newsfeed is a completely forwards looking thing. So there's no data on it. That's why Steve Jobs says he never did what user studies or whatever.
yeah, but at the same time, like, it's not a metric. They're not like because this is different. Because the metric, they obviously don't have metrics on newsfeed, but you do have like feedback. Like if people join a group and tell you they don't like something, right? Like
Yeah.
that's feedback. It's like not.
Yeah.
It's its own kind of like separate metric, right? Like
It's real
qualitative
time
feedback,
feedback.
we separate from quantitative research, which right,
Yeah.
which is like this is the hard numbers. People are clicking this and this number of times, right?
Yeah.
But if someone takes the time to like go out of their way to basically tell you that your stuff sucks or they don't like it, then it's just kind of like what has elicited this strong reaction, right?
Hmm.
And why did they believe that they were doing the right thing by
What
ignoring
is
these
it?
people?
I wonder why. Was it like groupthink? Like I don't know. It's interesting.
It's just the world's not ready, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't want to share what I'm doing with like everyone in the world
Yeah.
or something like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, guess what? Yeah, you do, right? It's like, yes,
Yeah.
you do. That's all you
Dang.
want to do, actually.
Are we having the same parallel with Meta? I wonder because I see Meta and I would join a group that says don't go Meta. But maybe well the Zuck's a lot smarter than me,
You know
so
that group exists called Wall Street.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
That's right.
called the investors.
I should buy some of
They're
that
not
stock.
happy. They're like, why are you burning $10 billion?
Yeah.
Why, why don't we just sit here and make money on ads? Zuckerberg's like, because my job's not to make you money, my friend. That's actually not my job.
Good for them. There's I don't think everyone should follow their gut. You asked this earlier. Like, I think only some people can follow their gut. And I think some people just don't have good guts. Not because they're dumb. It's because they're so used to not following their gut. They're so used to like listening to, I don't know, other people or metrics or whatever it is that they've kind of lost their sense of their gut. And then the gut, I feel like, is a muscle you have to train. Like you take a gut feeling, you fail or succeed, and then like that muscle gets stronger. And you keep doing that over time. And over a lifetime, your gut gets really strong. But if you've never exercised that muscle in your lifetime, you just don't have one. And then you have to listen to metrics. That's why I've always thought, but there's no metric that proves that.
Yeah, I think it's about like the deep understanding,
Yeah,
100%, right? Like
yeah,
like how deeply do you understand this space, and what do you know that other people don't, right? That's like that's what it means to have a gut in the first place.
yeah.
It's like because when we first talked about that concept, it was like it's probably like in the primal wilderness, right?
Mhm.
Like you have some hunter who's like been in the wild, he knows how to live off the land,
Yeah, yeah,
knows how to hunt, and it's just like this is what my instincts tell me.
yeah,
And he's not making it up, right? His instincts is from experience.
yeah, yeah,
So that's what it means to not listen to metrics in that case. But if you're like
yeah,
new and you don't know what you're doing, you're just like what you're doing is learning, right? So what you're doing is you're just like collecting the data so you're just doing research, right?
yeah.
Basically doing science. You're like, do it, and then you're like, well, I think this hypothesis, and I tried it and it didn't work.
Didn't
So
work.
let's try another hypothesis, right? And you just do that over and over again in order to get that experience that that other person has, like the
Yep,
guts.
yep, 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 yep.
So
Yeah.
that's another way of looking at it. Then
So what if you're 35 years old, you're in your mid 30s, you haven't developed a gut? What do you do? Like, do you all of a sudden start, or are you just like, F it?
you're saying, what if you're me? What should I do?
We're both in our mid 30s. Well, I don't know. What do you do? Do you use your gut or no?
I don't even know. I don't know, right? Like I don't know what it means to do that because
Mm, this is deep, man.
I'll give you an example. Like I'm not like the CEO or anything like that, right?
Mm.
What that means is like I don't like I'm not in a position where I like override other people's decisions.
Well, you're the
You know what I'm
CEO of
saying?
your own life, though.
Yeah, but if you're like I'm just talking about in a work scenario, right?
I see.
Like
Yeah,
unless
yeah,
you're like really senior.
yeah. You're a freaking PM. What are you talking about, man? You're like, you're the
Yeah, but
boss.
unless you're senior, you still like I'm saying you have to accept the feedback. Does that make
Oh, I
sense?
see. I see.
Yeah, I'm not saying like yeah.
Yeah, work's a
I'm not
different
saying like you
beast.
don't trust you can like present based on what you think and your instincts, but like
Yeah,
people will
yeah,
always give you feedback on it. They're like, oh, I don't
yeah.
like
If some,
this or I don't like that,
yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure. Yeah, work is
Right.
different. If some VP is like, no, 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 you have to do this, then you kind of have to listen.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah,
Exactly
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you're talking about personal life, like trusting your gut. I don't even know what that means. Like I don't even know how that's defined. I think I think you would know. I don't. Like you're the one that's, like you trust your gut, right? You just kind of do whatever you
Yeah.
want in life.
I feel like there's a lot of times in life where you do it. Like some of them is like, should I marry this person? Like, should I date this person? It's like which way should I take my career? Should I, invest in this or that? Like, yeah, those are all, at least for me, gut feelings. And it's hard for me to say whether, honestly, whether I've had a good gut or not, or whether I'm just lucky. But it has generally worked for me. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think just trying it in the first place. Like an example is like the Nest thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You
That
tried
was a
it
great
out, didn't
example.
work. Yeah,
I
tried
tried
it
it
out,
out.
didn't work.
I went all in on it. I tried it out. This was becoming a manager at Nest, transferring from Google Ads into Nest, becoming a manager there, which is very different because I was a programmer before that. I was a Salesforce programmer.
I mean, you were an IC effectively,
And I
right?
see 3 months into that job, I had to quit. It was just like I thought it was something I would enjoy and do well, and it would propel me, but it was not the right call, and so I quit.
But
And then I
but
learned
the
something.
key is like the key is quitting so fast, I think.
No,
Like
I didn't have a choice with that though.
that's what
I
I'm
had to
saying.
do it.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's good that you quit so fast, right?
Probably is, yeah.
Because you save because the faster you quit, the less opportunity cost
Yeah,
you
yeah,
lose, right? Because it's just like, oh, if I'm doing something that I hate, right? Like not only am I gonna suck at it really hard,
yeah.
I'm not doing something that I could be good at,
I
right?
guess
So
the
it's just
question
like
is,
who's winning?
yeah. Well, I mean, the question is, you take 100 people, you put them in the exact same scenario as me. Like, would everyone have quit as well? Like, I just don't know. But it was a decisive quit for me, that's for sure. Um, yeah. Maybe the thought process specifically for me was if I didn't quit, I would go crazy, and so I had to quit.
I mean, I think that's good enough.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I think that's a great example. Like I said, so first of all, when you join, you made the commit to join, right? You know, like
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well, I'll try this out, and then after like I said, 3 months, it would have been even better if you quit in 2 months, right?
That's
Or
true.
1 month, or
Taking my
like within
sweet
two
time.
weeks, right? Like that would
Freaking.
be that goes back to that legend, at our first company. Remember, I think we were talking about this before, where I'm like I'm there, I'm training this guy on Monday, right? I'm just like, okay, this is what the job is, right? And it's basically data entry. So I'm like, you put
Oh,
this data
I know what
in,
you're talking about right now.
yeah. And this
Legend,
guy,
man.
and this guy just he doesn't show up the next day, right?
That's a
He just
freaking
doesn't show up for next.
genius.
You like imagine you accept a work offer, right? You show up at it day one, Monday. Day two, I'm done, right? Like I saw what I need to see in one day,
Yeah,
in less than 8 hours. I'm able
yeah.
to make the right decision for my life. Think about it. Like I forgot this guy's name, but like if you want to talk about failing fast, like
Yeah.
this guy's a legend. He's probably founded two companies already.
No,
Like
he's the CEO of some unicorn at this point, like for sure.
like yeah,
We got to get
I,
him on here.
I don't know. I should have remembered his name, right?
Gotta
Like,
shake this man's hand.
like
Holy shit.
this this is a true legend. Yes.
That guy, he went with his gut there. It's like, F you. I need the money, but I'd rather not. Peace.
Note to
Damn.
myself: never talk with these dogs out again.
I don't even hear him. No. Um, but yeah, that's good. There was actually one other gut decision in my life that was really big, and this one paid off. And that was I was in marketing. I was getting job offers for more money than for money I would have been proud of. But then I made the call to go with my gut to learn to code, and that was important because my thought process was similar. If I did not attempt it, I probably would have gone crazy one day, just knowing that it's something in my gut that felt like the right thing to do, but I didn't go for it. So maybe one of the lessons is like you got to go for stuff so you can get those gut cycles in rather than just always like sitting back and not trying stuff.
Yeah, I feel like this ladder transfer is like first time I started doing that because I'm looking at my like old orgs
Yeah.
and like the people I used to work with, right? Like they're like 3 levels above me now,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, man, if I stayed there, I could be like, you know, 6 or 7,
Yeah.
like manage a team.
Yeah.
And then I like look at the work that they do,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want to do that, right? Like it's just like I don't want to do that, right? So then then you have to basically start again, right?
Yeah.
Start again, and like build skills towards something you do want to do. Like, and I think the whole thing was just like you established what you wanted to do a lot earlier,
Hmm.
you know? Like you're
Hmm.
just like, oh, I want to do Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
And that was like 8 years ago, 10 years ago,
Yeah. 10 years
right?
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10 years ago. You were like, I'm going to do Salesforce, right? So you got all these certifications, SFDC, right? 99, like you can just build around that once you commit.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
I think that goes back to like the trust your gut or data.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not even about that. Sometimes it's just about committing,
Yeah.
right? You
And so
like
that's what
how
you've
much do
done.
you believe it?
Yeah.
Like
That's what you've done in this PM route. This
yeah, it's just like this is what I'm going to commit to, right?
is beautiful.
And then because the greatest examples of this is like Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
This bro, a true legend, right? Like
True legend, man.
like when he found SpaceX, he's
Yeah.
just like, I'm gonna put all my money into this. And then it's like, what if your rocket blows up? He's like, it's cool. I have enough money to launch 3 rockets, so hopefully it'll work out. So then 3 rockets blow up, right? So now he scrapes together enough money for a 4th rocket, and he succeeds.
It's
Like,
beautiful.
like what is that? How many people are going to commit to that? How
Yeah.
many people are going to commit to taking all of their money to do that?
It's beautiful.
Who's doing
There's
that, right?
yeah. There's some famous speech he gave after the third rocket failed, where he's just like, "I'm going fucking all in. I don't care what if I have to like die to get this
Yeah,
next rocket
like
up."
that's my point, right? He's just
Yeah,
like what a legend,
it's
right?
freaking legend,
Like
man.
you can't. Normal people can't do that.
Can't do
Normal
it.
people just can't do that. They can't
Can't do
do.
it.
They can't launch 1 rocket. Obviously, not only can they launch. Not only can they not launch 1 rocket, they can't like commit to even thinking about taking all their resources and putting into like one thing,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Because
unbelievable.
you grow up, you're told like think about the stock market. Like people just tell
Yeah,
you to diversify. Like you're literally told not to do that,
that's true.
right?
That's true.
From a
That's true.
financial perspective, people are like, that's not a good idea. Like,
Yeah,
what if you put all your eggs in one basket and you drop the basket?
yeah,
And he's just like, well, what if I want to fucking take my basket to space?
yeah.
Like, I got
Freaking
to put all
legend,
my eggs
man.
in it because I can't put 2 baskets in space. That costs too much,
Nope.
right? Like,
Damn.
you have to keep like that. Then it's clear. Like, he knows what his goals are. Like, do you? Right? Like, do I?
It's deep.
No. Right? Like, that's the commit. You need to find that goal and then you need to commit.
Amen to that.
But like
That's it right there.
at the same time, you can't just bring up Elon, right? Because like there's so much survivorship bias. For every
Yeah.
Elon there is, there's like a million people who like went bankrupt, like chasing their dreams.
Well, I mean, I feel like in Silicon Valley we see a lot of it. Some person leaves Google, they start their own company, they freaking fail, and like they lose all their money.
Go back to Google.
Yeah, but I never feel like after they failed they're in a worse place because they learned so much there. And Google's always going to be here, for example. Like they learned so much, and like they're still like so much further ahead. I feel like it happens a lot. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a good topic. Let's call it. Let's get out of here.
All right,
All
all
right.
right. Let's wrap it up. It's a
All
good
right.
chat.
Peace.
See you next time, buddy.
Later.
Peace.